I've had more annoying experiences, but I can't remember many. Hello, welcome back. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened there. My computer just decided it was going to shut off. And that's weird because, yeah, guessing a Windows update thingy I'm catching in the chat. Could be. But normally Windows will reboot and restart when it's going to update, and it did not. It shut the computer off. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm hoping I'm not having a fan problem or something. Thank you for the raid, Author Goddess. Welcome. I saw you just as I went down. Yeah, that's fun. Alright, so I'm going to see what I missed here. Barbarossa says, I've had a heck of a day. I'm sorry to hear it. By the way, Sable, if you want someone to chat to during a stream, I would be glad to chat with you on some stuff, maybe do a discussion thing. Oh, as in come on the show. Cool? Sure, come on the show. Actually, I'd really like to have as many Anvilites as possible on the show during the course of World Ember. So, what are you doing on Sunday? You busy? You could come on my show. That'd be fun. Alright. Twinkle Toes says, I gave it a very brief listen. We'll definitely check it out again later, and that's the song of, what, Behind the Shield Wall? Something about, yes, Dinosaur Bob is pointing out, or RPG Dinosaur Bob is pointing out that he will be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. So that is 6 a.m. my time, so sometimes I make a stream, but not as often as I would like. Because I'm really long. James, please repost your link, because I will not be able to access it probably from the current stream manager, because it's probably that. Double check, though. No, actually I do have it, so never mind, you don't have to. Okay. That's a nice feature I'm liking about the fact that it'll include some of the back chat now when you log back into Twitch. That's great. Okay, so we'll look at that in a few minutes. Barbarossa says Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Not shameless plug, come watch. Maximum 1 page for critique. Edit is priced hourly. Yes, yes. Edit takes work, so that's why. Pride says, shot an email off to Janet. So here's to hoping I get an email back soon for the sponsorship. That's excellent. Cool. Thank you. I'm excited now. I will have to come up with something important for the profession. Maybe I should finally write my Star Pilot article. That's kind of a necessary profession in the Toy Soldier universe. Okay. Almost my last points. You gotta hang out with me more, Q. Haha, the skull is a placeholder. It's a placeholder? Oh, you should keep it. It's cool. Okay. Or if not, safe, if you like the if not construction. Yeah, that's good editing advice from Monsaze. Darth Nicholas is here. Good to see you. Darth, you killed it. Sable broke the internet. Wait, what's happening here? Yeah, me. It might make a good clip me going, what? Wait, what's happening? Oh, funny. Alright. Okay, I think now we're caught up to where I can read in this chat. Come on, Aaron, stop recruiting the stream to the undead. Game of Thrones is over. Yes. I blame Author Goddess for murdering the stream, says Macaro. Yep, that's your fault. Update or else. I don't understand. I don't know what happened. That has never happened to me before, especially not on Wednesday when I'm already online. I don't understand at all. He's dead, Jim. Yep, stream died. Good to see you, Stretch. Welcome. Windows still holds true with their terrible timing. Yup. Does Sable not have updates set to not auto-fire? I should. I should have them set not to auto-fire. I have no idea what happened there. At least I get a whiskey advert. Yeah, you can't stop them from downloading the update, but you can stop them from installing it until you're ready. You know what probably happened is I ignored their, you should do an update for long enough that it finally just made me do it, because it'll do that. It's a desktop. I cannot imagine why, you know, that's what I'm afraid of, that it's some kind of overheat issue. My computer power isn't warm. I don't know. The privateers have been overtaken. Yeah. General system error. Please sacrifice a goat and 2 chickens to continue. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Bob says that would be at least better than pledge your firstborn to the Demon Lord of Gates. Sure, you know what? I have never actually had a child from my own body. I'm a stepmom, and, you know, from like when my son was young, but I've never actually had a child from my own body, so I could do that. Pledge my firstborn, because, you know what? I don't have any and I never will. Yeah, sure, you can have my firstborn. Yeah. Also, Sable in mod view, if you click on someone's name, it will show you all their previous chat in the right-hand sidebar, even for other streams. I did not know that. That is useful. Twinkle Toes will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST. Okay, I will definitely try to check you out. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm finishing Diane Actually Writes at 5 p.m. PST tomorrow. Perhaps I shall raid you. That will be fun. Yes. Okay. That is cool. Our brains. Siobhan, Game of Thrones is finished. It's just to tell you. Siobhan says, I just got a new one right now, minus defective. Or I just need a new one right now. Well, I can't do that since I may not be able to give birth to a child. I have fathered 3. Yep. So, yeah, sure, you can have my firstborn. No problem. We're good. Good luck with that. Alright, so we're going back to Q's article now that the internet is unbroken. Alright. So we were looking at, for those who came in while my computer was working, walkers from his Shadeen world. They're walkers between worlds. There is apparently a way, if you have a gate and a key, you can walk between worlds. It's actually pretty easy if you have that information. Some can do it naturally, like vampires or time eaters. Others can only do it when conditions are right, like different creatures and monsters. So I think I was here. To monsters, the matter of walking is both less and more complicated. Repost your link in the chat there, Q. You don't have to spend the channel points again, just so that if people want to follow along, they can do that. Okay. To monsters, the matter of walking is both less and more complicated. Only some have the ability to travel as walkers do, such as vampires or time eaters, while others can only do so when conditions are right. As the shadow bleeds into the world and a deep mist descends upon a lonely forest, the howls on the wind come from across worlds. There's not much of a formal structure around walkers. New spellcasters or awakened eventually find their way to the shadow. This is a profession, speaking of which, right? Pulled by forces of destiny, stronger than any chains. And from there, they tend to pick up the rest through either charity or indentured servitude. Ooh, okay. Others make bargains with things from the beyond to unlock these secrets, trading freedom for power. In your sidebar, to infinite and beyond. Most walkers specialize in heading into the beyond, a dangerous realm that lies past the shadow, you need an S at the end of lie, where gods and demons live. Going there follows many of the same rules as traveling between the shadow and prime, but the stakes are so much higher. Travel pass. Some walkers make deals with things beyond mortal ken for their walking, trading anything from service to souls for their aid in walking. On the plus side, walkers so imbued can usually take shortcuts not available to others, such as creating keys to certain gates on the fly. Mundies, mortals with no magical training, or no magic training, sometimes travel through these bargains. Making such deals are not for the faint of heart. You have R twice, and it is never sure what exactly the alien minds of the beyond want or when they will collect. Yes. Tools of the trade. Besides magic and with everything else in order, walkers require a gate and a key to be able to travel. Training comes quick, though finding the necessary keys can require barter or force. Many are in the hands of things that have no interest in whatever some walker desires to do. Not all gates are easy to reach either. It is said there is a gate to the beyond somewhere in the Marianas Trench. Neat. I didn't know that this was connected to our world until this line, the Marianas Trench. Well, I think that's a great article. I really love your structure. I think it makes sense. I'm interested in, what walkers have to do with setting up your universe. That's pretty wicked. I'd like to know more about gates and keys, but I think I will save that for another time. Now we have another article, I do believe. Again, did I get my volume right? I had to turn it back down. Alright, so let's look at James's world here. Futures Seen. Created by James Woodwright. It is the year 2120. A disaster has happened in the recent past of which the world has not fully recovered. Technology has been rewound to the 1860s with some 21st century technology remaining. How will the city cope? Influenced by the City of Ember by Jean Duprow. Neat. And this is all meta stuff, book, Blu-ray stuff you can look at. Oh wow, you got a lot of work done on this, eh? Alright, let's check out your meta. I haven't done my meta for Toy Soldier or Weird West yet. I kind of included like my own introduction article. The motivation behind building Futures Seen. Originally, Futures Seen was therapy fiction that was first written in February 2017 as a way of coping with the issues I had. In December 2017, I decided to write a lore document for Futures Seen on Google Docs. In 2020, I wanted to create a computer game using the world I created. On the 20th of July, I joined World Anvil to write more lore, as I found that writing a document on Google was difficult. From putting articles on World Anvil, I found that not only I added to the original topics, but am adding more articles. Yeah, that sentence needs kind of a rework for grammar's sake, but otherwise cool. Okay. And it's near future dystopia influenced by the City of Ember. That is interesting. Neat. Disasters and lockdowns. Historically, some civil disasters have occurred, and therefore methods to keep people safe have been used. People have been taught what is expected of them. In education, to some extent, we would expect with Japanese students to know what to do if there's an earthquake. Okay. Civil disasters would be mass theft and property, terrorism. Okay. Okay, I see. I get the idea. We're looking at your world, not necessarily the specifics of the article, so the role. Doesn't mean all parts of the city will go into lockdown. If it's declared during a time when people are at work or school, the official start of the lockdown will be in the evening, or if it is the great day of celebration, at midnight. At this point, anyone with the role to help out will have these duties activated and the regular ones deactivated, meaning if they don't perform them unless they are ill, they will have the law after them. Ah, I see. Press gangs, right? Drafted. How someone would acquire this important role is by getting voted in. Okay, so do they have elections, or is it just anyone is automatically submitted to the election? That's interesting. The minimum age is 20. they'll have at least one extra employment or two extra employments, or one core job, or a mixture of the three. Okay. They have to have, like, jobs. Okay. And the employments are basically assigned, it sounds like. Huh. Okay, this is cool. It's off to a good start. I'll follow your world. I like dystopias. Thanks, James. That's cool. Alright. And once again, I'm falling behind in the chat, so we're going to try to skim. Esong is here. Hi, Esong. Hey, Happy. Good to see you. Welcome. Is it a megacorpolis? Says Siobhan. Yeah, in response to Q's article, I guess. 23 words to House Lapin, says Happy. That's excellent. Lapin for Life apparently is the new slogan that James is sharing with us. It's L for L. L number 4L. So that's pretty awesome. E. Songbird says, guys, I just walked across the room without assistance. Excellent. That's great. Hard recovery. Yeah. Author Goddess offers firstborn, starts timer. How long will they keep him? Yup. Little terrorist. Maybe not so little anymore. Okay. Something I missed. You injured. Esong is in the middle of a health crisis, and there will have to be, she will have to share the details as she chooses, but there is discussion about it in my Discord if you want to catch up. To infinity and beyond, I typoed, says Q. Yeah, because he was making a reference, of course, to Buzz Lightyear, which is great. Okay, yeah, Anxaze is right. About the editing. Mikara is telling James that any new or redated article that is published in public and 51 plus words counts for the word count. But you can only redate the publishing of an article if it was a stub before, a stub being less than 100 words. So if you kind of put down a few things, because it's like, okay, I'm going to write this article later, then you can reuse that. And that can be your article. It's a rule. If I show some of my articles, I'm required by law to typo, says Q. Makes sense. Yeah. Also consider antecedents in the sentence that goes trading stuff for their help in walking. Yeah. And I agree. Why tell people to shut up if they're trying to help? Thank you, Sable. I recommend The Great Rewind. Okay. Where do I find that? There it is. Okay. The Great Rewind is a period of history when the world started to decline. What resulted was the regression of science and technology to the 1860s. What happened? It began in the 2010s with 2 elections with culture from some parts of the electorate. From the later election created the cultural malaise that spread north then to continental Europe. These cultural ideas were designed to harm Western civilization, and during the later part of the 2010s, it appeared that the cultural unease would subside due to various events occurring. This is very vague. I would clarify a bit more here. What ideas were designed to harm Western civilization, and what are the various events that made it seem like things would subside? Okay? Because right now it kind of sounds like vague booking, you know? But that's cool. All right. Once the 2020s started, this may not have been the case, as the first year of the decade's political civil unrest from the cultural depression in many countries. That sentence is a bit confused. I don't know. It's like you're missing a key verb there, I think. Once the 2020s started, this may not have been the case, comma, as the first year, as what? In the first year of the decade, as in the first year of the decade, comma, political civil unrest resulted from, perhaps, the cultural depression in many countries. That might be, I'm guessing, right? I believe in never correcting somebody if you know what they mean, but if you don't know what they mean, you have to ask, right? Unless you're editing, right? I'm not editing, but I don't understand. So, in some of the countries, these reduced and stopped, but in others, it didn't and continued. Yeah, you wouldn't need and continued. You'd say it didn't, because we would assume it continued if it didn't stop, right? Where that civil unrest continued meant loss of property. Civil actions in residential areas weren't as destructive. Then the pandemic. Okay, so basically you're talking about everything's kind of in a shitstorm in 2020 right now, as we all know, with political unrest all over the place, and this pandemic and economic problems. Okay, I'm just skimming at this point. Okay, so in your world, there's no vaccine, and herd immunity eventually sorts it out. Okay. Oh, I hear a dinghy. Oh, hey, thanks for the bits, Chaotica. Awesome. Thank you so much. And welcome. How are you today? Okay, people divided into factions. Misinformation spread. Academic texts were unreliable. Accidents happened. The police all of a sudden had greater powers. Okay, yep. Oh, somebody was deliberately spreading misinformation about science, and they were successful enough at it that people didn't understand, and technology declined. That's fascinating. Propaganda. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, I haven't heard that take before in quite that way, James. That might be an original idea. Wow, okay. Try the best of rigging up devices to work without electricity. Okay. How was solar technology lost? Well, most of the manufacturing process can be done using the rewound technology. But solar panels need optical glass to finish the product, which they can't build. Okay. Oh, okay, and groups were banned completely even after the pandemic? Okay. Interesting. So someone deliberately rolled back technology. Huh, that's fascinating. Huh. We like to think of our technology as being unassailable, but of course it's not, right? But you know, the process of this propaganda that undoes centuries of technological and scientific knowledge, well, decades anyway, I would really love to know more about. Like, that's interesting. Really cool, James. It's a really neat idea. Okay. Oh, Natalia's leaving. Okay. Bye, Natalia. I'll miss you. Yeah, and if the article wasn't created during a previous world ember, says Macaro. Yep. Mental health here, but I will survive even if I do turn to stone in the process. Yeah, Siobhan's had a bit of a rough day, too. To use a Canadian talent for understatement. All right. Give Siobhan a mandrake root, says Author Goddess. No turn to stone. I'm sorry to hear you've had a strenuous day, Barbarossa. I'm glad you're better now. Is there any way to keep formerly supported Patreon creators from spamming one's messages there? I don't know. Are you still following that Patreon creator? Because you can follow Patreon creators without supporting them financially necessarily. I do because there's people I'd like to support when my budget improves. And you know, like maybe you're still following, maybe you have to click unfollow. Rowan was saying I have a binder you should borrow. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, talk to me about it after, I guess? I don't know what you're talking about, but fair enough. Yes, sometimes it helps to have an outside perspective. That's why you should never edit your own work. I'm well, how are you, says Chaotica. I am still tired, and a bunch of unexpected stuff happened to a bunch of friends at the very end of everything yesterday when I was already kind of beat from, well, okay, kind of beat would again be my talent for understatement, after all the Game of Tones stuff, but I did get some sleep, and I'm excited to get started on World Ember. So, I hear, oh, my kitty would like out. Alright, hold on a sec. You know what that means? The kitty wants to go in and out during the course of the broadcast. That means it's cat tax time. So, we will show you the kitty and then we will let him out. Hey, Mom. Yes, I understand. You'd like to go up. Yes, but first we can look at all the peoples. This is my kitty. For those of you who have not seen Scooter before, this is Scooter. He is sulking because I am making him sit here, and he knows that I know he wants to go out. So he's not looking at you. Yeah, there. Now he's looking at you. Notice his long-suffering expression. There we go. Yes, he's a handsome kitty, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. Oh, and there's another cat that walks in. I was wondering what the hell all that noise was. I'm like, that's a big mouse. Hello, Demon. Would you like to come in? Nope, you want to play. Okay. No, apparently my demon's just being a demon. Okay. So then. how do I get that dashboard color? Is that addressed to me? Oh, wrong one. I want that one. This is just the color for the World Anvil site, like the World Ember page. I mean, this is what my normal stuff looks like. I just use a light theme. I'm not doing anything fancy. All right. Yes, Siobhan needs all the hugs. Siobhan's had a rough day, rough few days. No, I'm not following them and emailing support didn't help. I have no idea. Then I'm sorry. Yeah, always edit your own work, just don't be the only one to do so. Yeah. Beans, says Pride Ascending. I don't know what that's connected to. Well, just caught up on your Discord, Sable. Yesterday was not a good day for ASC members. No, it's like Game of Tones happened, and then the universe decided to make everybody pay back with a bunch of shitful days. You know, I'm sorry everybody's having such a rough time. You know, like, yeah, it's not been a good day, for sure. A couple days, it's been kind of rough. And not for me, but for a lot of the people that I care about. And that's, you know, that's tough. Like, I don't know what to say, you know? Such majestic floof. Ginger floof. Yes, he's a floof. He is a very majestic floof. He's got this whole, yes, I am the king kind of look, for sure. Yeah. And attitude. He likes to pretend he doesn't like to be patted, for instance. He gives you this long-suffering look. But he'll do things and put himself deliberately in a place where he knows you're going to pick him up, right? So, yeah. He's hilarious. Barbarossa's drawing a police station. Was that Ash, the demon? No, that was Smokey being a demon. Mm-hmm. Bob says, and you two, you know who you are. Anything any of us can do, let us know. Yup, that's right. James says, I just found out what categories are, and I'm now implementing them. Cool. Yeah, of course, you're welcome there, James. It's a cool idea. I look to see what you're going to do with your world. Not all levels have the same color? Oh, okay. Beans equals kitty toes. Ah, yes. There were beans under my door. Yep. I have noticed depending on the level of the streamer. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I've just got like okay, are you talking about my streaming background? This is, I mean, like, actually this is real low tech as far as streaming goes. I've got I found a free loop that does the Starscape on YouTube and downloaded it, and I've got, you know, it's Creative Commons, so whatever, I can use it, and then the rest of this is just the World Ember, streaming pack. So, I don't know about the rest of the background. Did they change my page? Like, okay, anyway. I'm probably dwelling on this too much. Please don't use this knowledge of no way to block creator messages for evil. Yeah, no doubt. That's just rude. I don't understand why anybody would waste their time with that shit anyway. Do they really think it's going to encourage you to come back? Of course it's not. You know? It's just going to make you mad. It's kind of like Windows forcing you to install Edge. I'll never use it. I'll die first, right? Just because they forced me to install it. Yeah. I'm sure kitty cuddles are on par with puppy cuddles. They're different, but they're cool. So I'm looking at this Twitch ad thing for Hindsight 2020. Does anyone know if there's a dumpster fire emote available? That would be worth 300 bits. Okay, I haven't seen anything about this. I'll have to look it up. Twinkle Toe says, yesterday was rough for me too. I sent in my resignation as Nano ML last night, and I know I need to, but I'm a bit sad. You know, I did ML for the first, like, official time this year, and I'm seriously thinking that next year I am going to resign as well, right? Because it turns out that Game of Thrones took way more energy, and I ended up doing what, for me, I mean, I did the job, but I did a minimal job of being ML. I could have done a lot better, you know, and I was so focused on Game of Thrones that I neglected it. So is that really fair of me to be putting that on my local nanos? Probably not, right? My local Ramos deserve better, so maybe I should quit. So I'm seriously thinking about that too. But I have trouble putting down the plates once I've picked them up, just like you, because I'm sad. Would a police station have a fireplace? Well, they gotta have something to keep them warm, and if they don't have, okay, the time period you're talking about, um, a stove is probably more likely than a fireplace, like a wood stove. Centralized heating, perhaps. They could have a boiler heater. Often, buildings that were built in that time did. So, know the color of the dashboard. Which dashboard? My Twitch dashboard? Uh, it's just, I picked the dark theme. I don't know. Critique feedback. All right. We will look at Author Goddess's article. And cool, I can't wait to see what you've been doing on World Anvil. Joseph Andres. Joseph Andres is a longtime friend of Nicola Crandall and a casual acquaintance of Jonathan Hound Dog Henricks. Nicola being her protagonist of her Runespell series, and Hound Dog being a very important supporting character. Right? Joseph is the determined, steady presence, that Nicola needed in her life. Joseph's entire life has been the slow and steady type. The only child of an older couple, he was raised with love and a bedrock of family values that crossed religious convictions. Joseph got his bachelor's in communication. After his parents died just a few years ago, he quit his job in sales and went to work for a local radio station. He also writes a column for the newspaper that is quite successful. You might want to say which newspaper. Okay, while he gets along with many of the others in Nicola's life, he doesn't seem to have a deep bond with anyone else. Even Hound Dog and Detective Ames are more, or Ames, I don't actually know how to pronounce it, clarify for me, are more Nicola's friends, though Joseph keeps them as friendly contacts. Probably an S is missing there, I would assume. On as, it says friendly contacts at the moment, typo. Description: Joseph is in his 30s. He's blonde-haired and blue-eyed. He stands at 6'2" and has an overall lean build, though he is getting a little paunchy as he ages. He has a smooth bedroom voice, which is an advantage with his radio career. Yup. Tragedy: the only thing that one could say is missing in Joseph's life is love, but that wouldn't be entirely correct. He had found love once, nearly a decade ago. Dan was just right for Joseph, with the same steadiness to him, but just an edge of wildness. Dan was an activist, and he traveled a lot to help organize protests and gay and pagan pride events. One day, he flew into Austin Bergstrom International Airport to begin a week of event planning, rented a gas-efficient two-door, and within a few blocks was sideswiped by a truck and died. It was a complete accident. There was no one to blame. It's hard to lose a loved one, but when it happens so randomly, so faultlessly, yeah, it's hard. Joseph is fine for the most part. He keeps himself busy with the goings-on of the pagan community and with the radio and newspaper stuff. He enjoys watching his friends blossom in their lives. But he's a bit more muted than he was before. Some of the gloss has rubbed off of his heart. Oh, that's tragic. I like that phrase. Perhaps he will start looking for another love someday, but for now. Do you want me to show the spoiler on screen? If you want me to show the spoiler there, Author Goddess, let me know, because I will, but in the meantime, I'll continue here. Actually, okay, Stretch was on about the color of the World Anvil dashboard, minus the basic black on blue. Well, I chose light theme with the hero theme. Yeah. The orange thing wasn't Sable's dashboard, it was the prompt launchers of World Ember. Yep. Chaotica says, this is my first year in 5 years of not being in ML, and I miss it so much. Yeah. I saw that it says, apparently it's, hey there, just wanted to show you this, changes each month with link to see the thing, might be just what you need every month. Yeah. Actually, I haven't even done prompt 2 yet, and prompt 3 is already out. Where do I find prompt 1, 2, and 3? I don't know if we're doing that. This was my 50th year. I don't really know. I kind of wish I could have made it longer, but Jesus Christo, these years have been rough. 50th year. Okay. Prompt 3, an unfair conflict. I didn't realize they were doing individual prompts per day for World Ember, actually. Oh, sorry if you're disappointed in the change from 1920s to 1800s, 1860s Sable. I just naturally flowed into it. Oh, okay. So, probably wood stove then would be, or coal stove would be the way they would heat the police station. This is what Pride's dashboard looks like. So that I know what the hell people are talking about. Ah! I just chose the light theme. Right? Okay. Go up here. Might be interface and accessibility. I haven't done this in a very long time. So... yeah. Interface theme, heroes, light mode, that's what I chose. Right, and that's why my dashboard looks like this. You can also have villains, dark gray, and terror from the deep, dark blue. That's why my dashboard looks like that. Yeah. Okay, did I finally answer the question? Sorry, gang. Mine is all blue. Probably that's the deep blue. Actually, that... yeah. Okay. Yours, Sable, has bright orange-yellow article creation buttons instead. Hey, Daz, good to see you. Welcome. Makara says, tarot setting. Nope. Dystopian, not sure if raids count. Greyburn doesn't do armed conflicts. Skyfarer, again, raids. Okay. Ooh, so the dashboard thing just isn't on my account. Okay. Quick Synergazia plug from RPG Dinosaur Bob. A very interesting prompt will be built and released tomorrow during my stream, and remember, anything you write in Synergazia counts as words for World Ember. It's tidbits from the books, says Author Goddess. So, I guess if someone doesn't want to see, don't look. Alright, close your eyes if you don't want spoilers from the book. Here we go. Joseph has been a member in good standing of the Freemasons for 6 years, and then you have an asterisk. So I'm going to check the asterisks. As of the time of Too Weird, which is the first book in the series. In fact, he has been the librarian archivist for some time. There was some worry about this when a part of the library was damaged by an attack that appeared to have come from the Scottish Rite Temple's secret tunnel into the catacombs under downtown Indianapolis. A very memorable scene. The man suddenly did a double take as Joseph took a step forward. Brother Andrus, the man said, confusion written in his expression. Is that you? Joseph nodded. Yeah. Fred, right? The man nodded. As you can see, Joseph continued, we've had a rough couple of days. I just need to pick some things up from the archives. He held up his hand to stop the man's protests. I'll sign it all out. Fred looked pointedly at Mercy, Hound Dog, and me. Joseph turned to follow his gaze. And these folks? Fred asked. Joseph turned back to face Fred and shrugged. They're friends. I'll keep them away from the oathbound texts. I could see his grin flash, and he shrugged his shoulders. They found out I needed to come here, and they pestered me for a mini-tour. You know how people get about the Masons. Fred relaxed visibly and huffed. Don't I ever. I had to chase away 3 groups of kids this week alone. Damn goths think we got the secret to eternal youth or something. He looked me right in the eyes. Do I look like I got the secret to eternal youth? I blinked at the man whose tanned and weathered face was lined with small wrinkles and whose head was topped with a thinning mop of hair more gray than brown. I shot a look at Joseph, silently begging for help. Joseph laughed. No, Fred, you don't, he said, and if my joints keep up the way they are, I'll be wheelchair-bound by the time I'm your age. Joseph was there to help Nicola get back to a semblance of normal life after her experience with the Asclepius. I always trip over that because I have a bit of a speech impediment. Healing center cult. He insisted that she get out and have a little fun, taking her to a karaoke bar and picking up the cell block tango for her to sing. I like that one. That did. Yep. X years later, Joseph took Nicola on a hiking trip along the Appalachian Trail. The vacation quickly turned into anything but. Despite his attempts to be supportive, Joseph couldn't seem to understand the dire truth of Nicola's quest. He says tries, but you've written everything else in the past tense, so tried to help her hold on to her morals, but failed to realize that it was a Sophie's choice. Okay, so we're going to switch to present tense, fine. But fails to realize that it is a Sophie's choice. Instead, he ends up temporarily alienating his friend. In the end, though, he decides to support Nicola, even if he doesn't entirely agree with her choices. Because of this, it is especially hard on Nicola that he gets shot, and she has to leave him to die while she prevents Bob and Name from fleeing Fenrir. Fortunately, Joseph survives and continues to offer support and friendship to Nicola, even though their relationship now bears the scars of the fight. Yeah. Joseph nodded. Yeah, but I spent a day sitting on my ass with 2 bars of internet, he said, waggling his eyebrows, and I found a place about 70 miles north that has caves like the one you found in the astral plane. I perked up. Seriously? Yeah, there's some warnings posted about it being dangerous to spelunk there, he grinned. Plus, there's postings of local legends about a Grimm living in those caves. A Grimm? Like the big black dog that foretells death? Yep. I figure if we're this far behind anyways, it's worth the risk to catch a rideshare up that way. I nodded. You rock so hard. I yawned through the words. Get some sleep, he said. I'll have a pickup scheduled before breakfast is over in the morning. Joseph continues to struggle with Nicola's choices and the uncomfortable position she is in. It pains him as a friend to watch her compromise herself. At the same time, he isn't entirely sure she has had to make such hard choices. Surely there is a better way. Yeah, this is like the major supporting character in her books, and, you know, he's a good guy, and he has his own life. He's complex, so. Nice work. All right. Diane Writes is here, and he says, I just finished my first ever RPG session, D&D. It was a lot of fun. Congratulations. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm kind of an addict myself. Played a ranger. That's great. Advent calendar of prompts. Is that further down this page? Oh, look, everybody's already started. I'm so behind. God damn it. Okay. I can't get the dashboard to scroll. Is it just me? I don't know. That would be Moonflower. Catacombs under Indianapolis? It feels so weird speaking that I live in Indy, says Moonflower. Oh yes, says Tulakaru. And Author Goddess posts a link, which you probably should write a bit about for your world at some point. Dad says, I have an article written in my new style, no coding or pics to it, but I'm wondering if it's something that will keep readers interested. Yeah, I don't know. Nom nom nom, I have jerky and tomatoes, says Twinkle Toes. I meant that they aren't over the whole city and are also not called the catacombs or anything, says Moonflower. Not by people who currently live there, at least. It's on the usual prompts page. Okay. Well, I can get there probably from here. Go to prompt page. I believe I remember Janet mentioning this, but I didn't, cue in on it. Find more world building prompts. So this is the one I want. Tell us about a famous explorer. Okay, describe a building and what it's used for leisure pursuits. Write about a shop or a tavern that its name is a pun. Okay. Describe the largest diaspora in your world. Why did they leave their homeland? Ooh, well, I've got one. Formal education available. Describe the myths surrounding a creature in your world. A cult. Leading cause of death. Highest summit. Has anyone reached the top? That depends on your perspective. It's a space opera. What's your world's equivalent to tea or coffee? I already wrote that article. It's called Groff. Apex predators. Neat. Okay. Well, this is a useful reference, and I'll probably keep it handy. Thanks, guys. I didn't know what we were talking about. The first two with Janet's videos are the Advent Calendar ones. Okay, so mostly what I want to be focusing on is famous explorers, if I'm doing that, and describe a building used for leisure pursuits. Okay, you know what, I actually do have a famous explorer. I've got two of them I should talk about. But the one that, I have the most interest in is an elf named Alessander Tremaine. And Alessander is like, he's totally a Maturin-style naturalist. And he has a very interesting backstory in that he got marooned after a battle with Rak, which is like an arachnid race that everybody else is afraid of. And they became buddies in an enemy mine kind of scenario. So, thank you. Okay. I assume number 3 is also for Advent for tomorrow, since number 3 video is already out. Daz says, thanks, Macaro. I appreciate the help. Daz says, also my person articles are only going to contain the character's life up to the enter the story, so no need of spoilers. Oh, is that one on currency? Asked Barbarossa. Prompt number 3, unfair conflict. What do you mean by unfair conflict? Like, is it a one-sided conflict where one side considerably outmatched the other side and bloody kicked their ass, or what? I need a name for a renegade Skyfarer captain. Captain Cloudkicker sounds great. I like that very much for that. That's a good idea, Daz. ECC Books says, been staying quiet since logging on, but wanted to say thanks for streaming right now. Was feeling down and super happy that this was here for me to look at, listen to at just the right moment. Well, it's always good to see you, and, the community's always here, my friend. Like, we're rarely not on anymore. even without the Game of Tomes regular schedule, I think it's, okay, I gotta go back, but going back to the main Anvilite Streamer Core article to show you the schedule, which you can find. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this there, ECC, but ASC, you can find that, right? That is the link. We got a special link from Dimmy, right? Here's our calendar. So we are currently here in the middle of Diane Writes, and I'm on for another hour and a half, which means it's probably about time to take a break, and at least briefly. My bladder thinks so too. But as you can see, there's not a lot of blank spots, and the only reason why this was all blank is because that was, you know, the end of the Game of Tomes, and everybody's freaking tired, right? Moving on to next week to give you a better idea of what we look like. This is more typical. So there's some blank spots here on Mondays. Oh, I see I don't have my toy soldiers thing up. Did I cancel it everywhere? I didn't mean to. I better go double check my Google Calendar, because I should be streaming. Oh no, there we are, Tuesday. Yeah, so this is like Sunday night for most people, and that tends to be a pretty, like, empty streaming schedule, which reminds me, I think I was going to try to put something there, but yeah, you can find something almost any time. So, we're here. Well, okay, so we're having a discussion about catacombs. Alright. Pride says, I was going to start streaming, then you came on. Aw, and I want to watch you more than I want to stream myself. Well, thank you for, you know, wanting to come on and stream, and thank you for hanging out with me. Yeah, I am considering locking in 10 a.m. on Tuesdays EST, says Barbarossa, but I'm afraid to lock that in case something happens. I hear you. Okay, so ECC has that. Yeah, DM Stretch says, well, Mark Carroll is supposed to be on after me, but he doesn't always appear, so maybe a free slot after you. Yeah, and there's Daz's article, which we're going to look at after the break. ECC says, I still plan to fill in one of those blank spots of the stream on my own someday. You can stream at any time. This is another thing I want to make clear, okay? Right? We've had a lot of a difficulty with this, actually, in the ASC, because people, you know, are like, well, this is my slot. Why is somebody streaming during my slot? And in part, that's my fault, because we were trying to create 24-hour coverage during the Game of Tomes. Right? So in order to do that, it was more that we were trying not to overlap one another so that people would always have a place to go and report, right? So, but you can stream at any time. It's probably not a good idea if you've already got a chunk, like as you can see in the middle of Friday there's like 5 streams all going on at once. You probably don't want to add your stream there just because it, you know, like, honestly, it's a bad choice. You'd be unlikely to get the same audience, right? But nobody's entitled to their spot, right? You're welcome to stream whenever you can. There's like 70 members of the ASC. There's no way we're not going to be able to overlap each other at some point, right? So stream when you want to stream, right? Stream when it's good for you to stream. Don't be afraid, you know, don't be thinking you have to only fill the blank spots. It's just that often that's a good choice because nobody else is there, and there's always somebody looking for someone to watch in the Anvilite community. I have it on all hours of the day and night, so, you know, it would make me personally very happy to just be able to hop from one Anvilite streamer to another. So, you don't have to, right? You don't have to stick with that. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Moonflower. I was only bringing it up because I was looking through and kind of categorizing what everybody was saying, so I knew whether or not I had to, like, I should, uh, like, read it, right? So, um, and I've decided I'm not getting into the discussion because I've never been to Indianapolis and know nothing about it, right? And so, fair enough, right? But I don't mean to be throwing gasoline on the fire, right? um yeah. And guys, right, if I can ask for like a general kind of attitude here, um try to be kind, right? If you're going to disagree, and you're welcome to, right? Nobody's going to all agree on everything. I don't expect that here, but try to be kind about your disagreements. It's a big community. There's a wide variety of people, and the truth is, we don't really know anything about each other on the internet that we don't actively share, right? So we don't know another person's experience. Sometimes it's difficult, right? Conversely, I'll also, bless you, dear. I'll also ask that people try to assume that the other people who are here mean well, right? We try to be a very, like, unless they're being an obvious troll, you know, let's assume people meant well. We have a lot of autistic people in our community and other neurodiverse people. It's really easy for someone to say something that sounds blunt when it's not intended that way, or for someone to take something badly. And perhaps I can also encourage people, if they're starting to get upset with things in the chat, because the channel's getting busier and it's kind of impossible for me to keep up on it at this point, right? So I need your help with it, right? Maybe just say that you're getting you feel emotional about it, and then ask if that was intended. I am feeling like you're talking down to me. Was that intended? you know and then because text is hard to get tone right, and I'm not good with tone anyway, right? I'm often mistaken as being angry when I'm not. Anyway, just some general guidelines that hopefully, you're all a bunch of cool beans. I don't really know anybody here who, is deliberately, being a problem. So let's try to make it a safe space for everybody, okay? I'm not judging anyone. I'm not saying anybody has done anything wrong. Please don't and I'm not even talking specifically about this situation necessarily. It's just something that I've noticed a couple of times as emotions have run high during the Game of Tones in particular, and it's new to my chat, so I'm kind of trying to develop a policy about it. That's all. Okay. And that being said, I think this is a good opportunity to take a break, and I'm going to just run for a quick bio. I'll put the timer. There's always a timer up on my break. If you want to use it to write, feel free. When I get back, I'm going to critique Daz's article, or have a look at it, share it with the world, and then after that, I'm going to work on my own stuff, okay? Because we're starting to run out of time. All right, love you guys. See you in a minute. And I'm back. Are people being arson beans in my chat? No, 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 no. There's world building to be done. You go make fire in the forge. You see, if you have pyromaniac tendencies, then you make the fire in the world forge right now because it's world ember, and then you don't need to set huge things on fire. You just make the fire in the forge, and then you make worlds out of it, and you know, bend them into your reality, and it's pretty. So, arson time. Hello, Edith. Good to see you. Who else did I miss coming in? Smokes Cloud Kicker. I like it, by the way. That sounds like a great character. People are dancing. Dianica wanders in late and sits in the back. Hi, Dianica. Good to see you. You're not late. You're just in time. A wizard arrives exactly when he means to. Masadi's flopped into the chat. Good to see you. Welcome. Glad you made it. Yeah, I missed Coffee Quills last night, says Anastasia. Yeah, Coffee Quills did stream, but it was very late for them, which is very early for us. So, yeah. It was stupid o'clock in the morning, so. And yes, that means I was up at stupid o'clock in the morning again. It was a weird day yesterday, let's just say that. It was like 6 a.m. my time, I think, says Dianica. Yeah. Red pen, blue pen. Hi, I'm still very new to Writer Twitch. Your channel looks fantastic. Well, welcome, and with a name like that, you must certainly be in the right place. Glad to see you, and I hope you enjoy. If you have questions, it's a really great community. People are very friendly, and I'm sure that they will be happy to, you know, help you out. If I'm yammering away, which I often do. So. Raffle? Do I owe a raffle? I do owe a raffle! That's right, because we have 30 subs! Oh my god! Yes, thank you for the reminder, Siobhan. Yes, that's right too. As of yesterday, we have 30 subs. I owe you a raffle. Oh my god, I totally forgot. I better give you some notice, eh? I owe a book. I owe you a signed copy of one of my books. That's what I owe. That's awesome. Okay, I'm excited. Yeah, that's right. We have 32 subscribers as of last night, thanks to all the gift subs on my first ever hype train from especially Danny, Zog, and Sharad Fox, and I think James gifted a sub. This is awesome. Yes. When would you guys like me to do this? Do you want me to do this tomorrow on Diane Actually Writes, or would you like me to do this on Sunday on Sable's World Forge? Let me know. We will do it on one or the other. I forgot. Yes. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. In the meantime, we're going to look at Daz's article. She was saying that she is trying out a new style. Oh, I hear a dingy thing again. Oh, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, Pen. I'm just going to call you Pen if you don't mind. Tomorrow, says Siobhan. I vote do not do other things on Diane Actually Writes, says Dianica. That's wise. Chaotica says, can we do Sunday because I can't be here tomorrow? Okay, and Pen works. Awesome. Alright, Sunday it is, gang. We'll do it on Sable's World Forge. That will be 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday Pacific time. Right, that is, and I have the calendar right in front of me, isn't that convenient? Okay, that will be 9 p.m. to midnight GMT on Sunday. So, yes, we will raffle. It will be fun. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for the reminder, Siobhan. This is cool. Jeez, it's going to be an expensive week. I got 2 books to send. Okay, I still haven't sent Darth's that he won, but I will. All right, now, we're looking at Daz's article. Oh, no, wait a minute. It didn't come up. Why didn't it come up? Shout out from Barbarossa. Siobhan is the best person ever. Siobhan is pretty goddamn cool. I cannot disagree. Alright. Siobhan, who was a godsend during the Game of Tomes as one of the major house leaders. Really appreciated. Okay. Daz's article. Oh, very clean delivery. And mostly you said you were looking for critique on style and whether it would be engaging to the reader. No pictures. It has a very book-like look to it. Did you want me to get into the, like, meat and drink of the substance of the article there, Daz? Or... yeah. So you were aiming for the 50K badge, right, for World Ember? Right, Sable Aradia, says Edith? No, I'm actually not. I'm going to do one article for each category, and if that makes 50K, awesome, right? But if I have more time, I'll keep working, but... yeah. That is a good idea, Ansaze. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can do that. She suggests that auto-enrolling subs and raffles, even when they can't be present, as a way of recognizing their support. That's a good idea. I don't know if my Moobot stuff can, or wait, no, Streamlabs? I don't know if my Streamlabs attachment does that. I will have to look. Okay, yes, please go into the substance. All right. Tear it up if I want. All right. I am working on Wereth, says Rowan. That's awesome. Are you competing in World Ember, Rowan? Definitely make sure you share your stuff if you do. Okay. River Lion. Males have a body length of 9 feet and a tail length of 4 feet. Females have a body length of 6 feet and a tail length of 3 feet. Males weigh about 110 pounds. Females weigh about 126 pounds. So the females are considerably smaller. Fair enough. Okay. It was a long, mournful sound that rivaled the howl of a wolf, though it held a slow, melodic warble to it that made it clear this was no wolf call. That's a long sentence. You may want to break up a bit. But it's interesting. Okay. Even a comma would be good. I headed in the direction of that call. Then a roar with that strange, slow warble to it carried through the air from the same direction. At this point, I would say then a strange, warbling roar. Right? Whatever was making these sounds seemed perturbed. That's sort of a filter word. I would either say sounded perturbed because it's a stronger verb, or I would say maybe even the creature that whatever was making these sounds was perturbed, right? And then that, you know, really like commits to the feeling, but you know, and that's an active versus passive voice thing. Okay, I hurried to catch a glimpse of it before it left. For a few minutes I made my way along a forested ridge until I came out of the trees and stood up upon the edge of the ridge that was a small cliff dropping down into a river several feet below. That is a long sentence and there is a redundant portion. For a few minutes, I would say this. For a few minutes I made my way along a forested ridge until I came out of the trees. I stood upon the edge, a small cliff dropping down into a river several feet below. And do we need small? Small kind of mitigates the cliff. I'm not sure, but it's up to you. My eyes were not on the precarious place I stood, but upon the long, sleek creatures in the water. A dozen of them, you've got a typo, you have an N, sat upon the rocks near the cliff. Several of these were smaller, maybe half the size of the bigger ones sitting with them. Out in the water was a really big one of these long, sleek, furred creatures. If I can offer a suggestion for description, don't repeat. We already know the creatures are long and sleek, so we don't need to hear that they're long and sleek again. You could say, the biggest one was out in the water, right? We already know it's a long, sleek creature, and we need to know it was out in the water. That's the important information, right? Kind of a general rule of thumb, try not to repeat your descriptions. If you really feel you must repeat it to enhance it, which I would do rarely, then use different words. Okay. It was facing another big creature that was closer to the other shore, which was a rocky beach. It was facing off against another, and is it the same kind of creature, right? Because in which case I might say, out in the water, two big creatures faced off. One was closer to the rocky beach of the opposite shore. You know? Okay. I sat down on the cliff and scrambled for my journal to sketch all I could see while this amazing moment happened beneath me. Barks and roars sounded from both of these big creatures. You've used creatures a couple times, and I understand why, because, you know, it's not like your writer knows the name of the creature. But do they look like lions? You're describing manes later on. If they do, then somewhere in this paragraph, mine eyes were not on the precarious place, but on the long sea creatures in the water. A dozen of them sat upon rocks near the cliffs. They looked all the world like lions, only with seal fur. You know? I might say that. And that gives you a word you can then use as a simple reference later on. Barks and roars sounded from the water lions, right? And you have the when you mean they, right? As they bobbed up and down in the water, puffing out their chests and manes. It says as well as manes, but you don't need as well as, just and. And manes. Then their then collapsed back against their neck as a thick ruff as they dropped down in the water before bobbing up again. The manes collapsed into a thick ruff when they bobbed up and down in the water. When they bobbed underwater, right? Because I think the key is it's closing up the mane to protect their body from warmth, right? So when they bobbed under the water, that's the key point. Ansaze probably is tapping away with some editing advice in the meantime as well. And if she is, her advice is usually good, and you might want to look at it. Okay. Also, if Author Goddess is inspired to type things about it, that's worth looking at too. Okay. As they bobbed in the water, the two, and you've got toe, switch the order, big creatures moved closer and closer. Yeah. My advice again about not using the same words when you're describing things if you must repeat them. We know it's bobbing in the water. We don't need to know it's still bobbing in the water. The two big creatures dipped closer and closer to each other. Then the one with its back to the other sitting on the rocks let out a much louder roar as it came up, I would say. Its mane was puffed out, but instead of going straight up, it lunged at the other big creature, biting with its wolf-like jaws and clawing with its webbed forepaws. Okay, that's good description. Now I have a good idea of what the creature looks like. The other creature met its attack. Fur flew and the water splashed and roiled when both dropped down under the surface to fight. The water darkened as blood spilled into it. Yeah, the water darkened as blood spilled into the water. Blood spilled into the water. The water darkened with blood. For several minutes, the two creatures roared, snarled, and fought until the one that had been the closest to the other shore rushed out of the water. It ran into the trees, limping on 3 legs. The remaining big creature gave chase, but only to the shore, where it stopped to puff out its chest and torn mane to roar victoriously. Well, I'm interested in your creatures. River lions, as their name suggests, live mostly in rivers and lakes connected to, mostly in rivers, and lakes connected to rivers, where they hunt fish, crawdads, and other freshwater aquatic creatures. Males have manes that lay against their necks like an extra thick ruff until they puff it out to impress females, and to warn enemies they're about to attack. All river lions have short but incredibly dense fur that is watertight. I would make that a new sentence. It comes in deep brown, or a deep reddish brown, or even various shades of brown. Or I would even say all river lions have short but incredibly dense brown fur that is watertight. Lighter shades of these colors, and sometimes white, appear on the chest. Is there a particular pattern to that? You might want to describe that. Breedings between individual river lions involve both rising out of the water, displaying their chest colors, and near calm after water. River lions live in wet prides led by a dominant male and up to 4 breeding females. The rest of the wet pride are their offspring. I like it. Most offspring leave the wet pride at about 2 years of age. A few offspring seem content to stay with their parents rather than go looking to form their own families. These lingering adult offspring give a wet pride strength in defending territories from rivals and predators, and as long as they don't attempt to mate, they are permitted to stay. These are neat. So, to my mind, they look something like a cross between a lion and a seal. Have I got that right? Oh, James is off. See you, James. Thanks for joining us. Have a good sleep. Rest well. Okay. It's rough. Yeah, fair enough. Siobhan is such a gorgeous, and I'm entirely envious of her puppy pile. The puppies are cute. I was there. They're great. I like the colors, though I think that might be a generic one. Yep, basic, says Daz. Remind me to ask about a name after this. Yeah, thanks, Onyx. It's a good advice, and I would love to do that, and I hope that it will work. Yeah. Barbarossa says, I just got done watching Carnival Row and saw the creepiest things. Scatter wires, which were barbed wire hung in the trees to capture fairies who flew through them. You just see fairies wrapped in wires. It was really creepy, but good world building. That is disturbing. Huh. You want, like, creepy fantasy world done wrong? Read the, what is the name of her series? Kat Rambo is the writer, and, she just won the Nebula this year for a novella of hers, Carpe Glitter, and her series, Shitbirds. I should remember this, and I do not. But basically, I told her, listen, you really need to have the decapitated head of a unicorn on cobblestone in order to describe this book to people. The pretty cover you've got is a shot in the, like it's not fair. Yes, Tibet. The Beasts of Tibet, the Hearts of Tibet. Okay, you want, like, fantasy gone wrong, you want to read that, okay? Like high fantasy gone wrong. Fairy tales gone wrong. Text looks like it's just sort of floating there. Yeah, it's neat. Rowan says, yes, and I will, but not today because running stream on my phone. Legit. Hey there, Atanchi. How are you? How'd your nano go? Good to see you. I would put that in a box. James is probably talking about your stats. A box for the side panel would be nice. The text just sort of looks like it's floating there. Okay, I see. Having some smell description might be nice for that. Maybe smelling the water or something. Yeah, do the creatures have an odor? Do they have like a musk or something? That might be interesting. Good question. Edith says their fur is sleek, but is it thick like a seal's or thin like, say, a Rottweiler? Because those look different. Like, have you seen a fur seal? They are really smooth, but it's still very thick fur. Okay, and we have a critique request, showcase critique from Moonflower. Rowan's got to go do chores. See you later, Rowan. Thanks for joining me. Yep, Anxhaze's advice is good there. If you're not a biologist, use sloppy anthropomorphizing language, faced off against a rival. Yep. Yes to go under, so I grasped what you were doing. Oh, good night, Q. Thanks for joining me. Have a good sleep. Yep. I know the feeling, Dianica. I love my kids to death, but I swear some days I cannot stand them. Just remember that grandchildren are the reason you did not strangle your own children when they became teenagers. I'm just saying. Right? It really is worth it. Okay. Edith asks Moonflower, can I just comment on the article, or do you wish to only have Sable's help? And Moonflower invites comments. Yeah, trying to get some dinner. So yeah, if you guys want to comment on Moonflower's article, you can do that. I don't know what to add and need suggestions is the key to the critique. Now I made the points on the current and was distracted, Siobhan. Okay. Mikaro says, crap, I lost a word in my vocabulary. I hate that. Mikaro says, how do you call it when someone is so large they're practically hanging over people and intimidating? Looming is probably what you're looking for. Yeah. Maned giant otters is what they are. Okay. Is the writer familiar with otters and lions? Maybe they're not, right? Someone from our world would be, but perhaps someone from a medieval world has never actually seen a lion. They've only seen rather badly done pictures in books with no sense of perspective, right? If the character is familiar with lions and otters, you could use that, right? You could say, sort of resembled a cross between a lion and an otter, right? Yeah. A face which might be really cute on a kitten was surprisingly fierce on the big male, right? And I think it's reasonable to assume, unless the person is a naturalist, right, that it's a male, because if it looks like a lion and it has a mane, then one might assume that's the male. But if they are a naturalist, then that depends on the time period, right? Early naturalism is very speculative, and it goes into things like, in what I assume was the male, you know, so you could throw that in there and give it that kind of feel. You know what? I actually do intend to write something in that sort of language from the point of view of Alessander Tremaine, who is a naturalist who exists in my space universe and my Toy Soldier Saga universe. So maybe if you want, I'll ping you when I do that article, and then that way, you know, if I'm, you know, I'm trying to give an example of what I mean, and it's difficult to describe, so maybe it'd be better to look. Okay. DM is lurking because he's on the phone. That's cool. Masadi says, how do you do the text in the box like that, where they have the excerpt inside the article? Yes, in the BB code editor, it's quote in square brackets, whatever you want to include in the bracket, and then hashtag quote slash quote in the square brackets. Right? There's also an allowed function, and it, you know, like spoken aloud as opposed to allowed into the gym, right? And it's done the same way, and that gives you two separate types of boxes that you can use that you don't have to do anything extra for. You can also create your own by using containers, which is a bit more complicated and something I haven't really figured out yet. I've only copied what other people have done on ASC articles, right? So there are better people to help you with that. Q's one of them, right? But I just use two. And then I've got some world CSS that I've used to configure one of those with a gradient so that it looks, a certain way. But that's advanced stuff. And go to the Guild CSS help channel in World Anvil Discord if you want help with that, because that's the best place to get information. Somebody will tell you how to configure it in a different way if you want them to. So, yeah. Okay, and the second paragraph on here, maybe using a different layout. Categories are going to be labeled as volumes in the set. Oh, I see. So you are trying to create sort of a bestiary. Okay, that's cool. In that case, you might... Are you going to include your own sketches? Because that would be really interesting. Yeah, Moonflower says, probably do need to change up the layout, but right now working on content. Macaro says, there's no clear consensus on Cloud Kicker's precise looks. Some stories say they were one of the tallest people around, constantly looming over people. Other stories say they were short, but built tough and extremely intimidating, able to pin someone to their spot with a single mad glare. There's no clear consensus. Yeah, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. There's something that buzzes me about some stories say they were one of the tallest people around, constantly looming over people. Probably it's the repetition of people. I would find a way to not repeat people, right? I would either say some stories say they were really tall, constantly looming over people, or I might say some stories say they were one of the tallest people around, constantly looming over everyone, right? That's all. But otherwise, I like the description. I'm short and have big aura. I am 5 feet tall and people are still afraid of me. I don't know, I don't know why, but apparently I get this all the time. I'm sitting down at a table and then I stand up and someone says, "Oh my god, I didn't realize how short you were." And I said, "Yes, I have big aura." Yeah, okay. Happy says, "Yes, you get to watch your kids suffer the way they made you suffer. Revenge is best aged like a fine wine." Oh yes, oh yes. And the kids are screaming and they're apologizing and you're like, you know what, I'll come back when you have it sorted out. Because you don't have to, because they're not your kids. It ain't your problem. You don't have to do it. Could you be more descriptive about the text into the appearance? Yeah. Okay. All right. So everyone else is looking at Moonflower's article. Let's go there now. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to like your article, Daz. I'll go back in a minute. Elf. Elf are a species of live and magically adept creatures. Homo cutloris, 450 years lifespan. Least concern conservation status. 5 to 6 feet in height. Weight 100 to 190 pounds. Related ethnicities. Different types of elves. Okay. Okay, this probably seems obvious and will be to anyone who is, knows anything about fantasy, but you might want, if you're looking for a particular tone, right, to describe the fact that elves are one of the sapient races, as you like to say, right, and that they have their own advanced civilizations, right, and that might be something you want to put in the beginning bit. General appearance of live gangly humanoids with pointed ears that range from only slightly longer than a human's ears to ears that are nearly a foot long. Yeah, my elves tend to have fairly extended ears too, and I find it very difficult to make on art, right? But let's see. Is the dominant species humans on your world? Because if it isn't, you will not want to use humanoids, right? Because, you know, maybe everything's elvenoid, you know? But whatever, like, we get the idea, right? Do they have variance in hair color, eye color, skin color? Right? In my universe, there is a notable racial genetic divergence between ethnicities, right? And that is because they have traveled over the stars, right? So also in their early history, they had divisions of nations and developed in their own way. And since they've been around for thousands of years, right, things are very like delineated, right? But that may not necessarily be true in other worlds. And the reason why it's important in mine is because racism is a thing. So, but maybe it's not important in your world. Just, thoughts. Like variants, do they come the same variants that humans do? Right? Do they, like... Oh, sorry. Do they have different eye colors and different hair colors and things? You might want to put that in there, right? If you want. You're like you said, you're looking for stuff to add. I'm giving you suggestions. Hair cutting. Elves tend to take great pride in their hair, letting it grow to extreme lengths and only rarely cutting it. The cutting of an elf's hair is only done in a formal ritualistic setting and only done once a year at the most, according to elven law. Wow, so that's interesting because that kind of thing is usually based in culture, which tends to be more associated with ethnic groups. So that must be an ancient taboo that goes back to the origin of the species, which is cool. And, you could expand on that if you wanted to. Hair color. An elf's hair color is said to be intrinsically linked, oh thank you, now you're explaining coloration, okay, to their magical ability. An elf with red hair is said to have more powerful magic than an elf with blonde hair, who is said to have more powerful magic than an elf with brown hair, who is said to have more powerful magic than an elf with black hair. Is that true? Right? Or is that just what they believe? Because the implication with the language you've chosen is that it is about belief and not a reality, but it would be interesting to know if it were, right? They are and do they have other colors in their hair than... I'm assuming by that description they don't. They tend to have the same kind of coloration that humans do. Hair styling. Elves tend to style their hair in intricate updos or partial updos. Elven women are more likely to opt for a partial updo thanks to the current fashions of the time, while elven men tend to opt for complete updos for the same reason. Thanks to the current elven fashions, showing the back of your neck is said to be a masculine trait. Interesting. I like that. And that too crosses cultures. So I would assume there really is something about their hair that is linked to their magic, or at least the belief in it is so intrinsic that they, they can't get past that. So yeah, good note here from Edith about what does the pointed ear mean? What does live mean? Yeah. Oh, and the same questions were asked by me, skin tone and what. Yeah. Yeah, and you're just in the building stage, so you haven't really fleshed out your other ethnicities yet and may change that in the future, so that's fair. If you have something that is universal across a species, that means it's really old. Right? And there's probably a reason why it's really old. There are things that are universal about human cultures, or nearly so. And those things exist for a reason. Now, some of people think that it comes from biology, but that's not necessarily true. It also might come from culture of origin and just might be so old that the first human cultures left their intrinsic stamp on our cultures now, right? So it'd be interesting to know more about that. I'd like to know more about their life cycle, right? We know they live to about 450 years. Do they have the same fertility rate that humans do? Uh, does their reproduction work in any kind of different way? Do they, you know, are they, do they choose not to have children until later in life, or do they do that early? Right? Which is more comfortable for their biology, right? Because the age at which men and women are better suited to having children overlaps, but biologically differs, right? Um, and that could be a cultural thing too, but culture affecting biology over time, right? What kind of climates are they best suited to? Uh, do they, how does intrinsic magical ability work? Is intrinsic magical ability something that is that everybody has in your world, or is that something specific to elves? Right. So yeah, these are a couple things that could be expanded on. I hope that's of some help. I'm sure other people have a lot of other suggestions. Did anybody answer Makaro's question there? Yes, oh, I like that. That works. Yep. I'm not going to read out everything here. Religion. Religion might be more suited to your ethnicities. Patriarchal or matriarchal is a good question. Do they revere their elders? How do they rear their children? Yeah. I like what you wrote there, Makaro. That's good. Sable, what do I think of a page-looking encounter story before the scientific stuff? I think that's a good idea. I think that is a neat. I think that's a neat way to do it, and I do like that presentation idea. Yeah. Quick question for you all: does the city name of Boilinde sound all right? The place is named after the family that lived there, the Boyd family. Sure. Sounds good, Edith. Twinkle Toes is dropping their article. Okay. And Dianica dropped her article. Humans are the most common species in Moonflower's world. They make up nearly half of the world's population of sapient creatures. And there are 14 sapient species. Neat. Okay, yep, so humanoid is the good point of reference. Also, for the monoculture seeming stuff, I must admit that I'm putting in stuff that will later be moved to the ethnicities. That's cool too. It's not about reality, it's 100% superstition. Hair is linked to magical ability, but hair color is superstition. That's cool. Dragon Legends World Flood, did they work on... yeah, do they... where am I here? Sorry, I lost it. Yeah, get into the law. Do they focus on education, crafts, or arts? And you'll be sure to show us once you finish the article. Yeah, that's great. My article needs the chainsaw to the sentence structures. Yeah. Yeah, no, I what I mean by dropped is put into the chat for us to look at. Dianica, yes, you did. You used your points. I will look at it. No, you did it right. This is why I have now created the show called Diane Actually Writes, though, by the way. You notice I've gotten no writing done today at all. I've been looking at other people's articles, which is cool. I like looking at other people's articles. Speaking of which, I haven't given Moonflower a like. I should do that. And I should go back and give Daz a like, too. So I will do this. I mean, that's part of what we're doing here is, you know, celebrating community, looking at each other's stuff. Okay. This is why I said don't do the raffle during your Actually Writes stream, says Dianica. Do not set that precedent. Keep it only writing. That way we don't have to feel bad for bugging you in other streams. It's totally cool. This kind of thing with looking at articles is generally probably more appropriate to Sable's Rollforge than it is but we, you know, Diane Writes is kind of an eclectic thing, right? But I'm happy to do it here, and it is like the beginning of World Ember, and everybody's all excited, and, you know, and I do want to share, right? So that's great. I'm happy to do it. I like looking at other people's articles, and I am here to answer writing questions, right? So if you want me to critique stuff, that's my job. And I'm, you know, that's why I make myself available, so. Awesome. Yep, and you have answer writing questions. Yes, and there will be no answer writing questions tomorrow. That will not be on the agenda. We'll not be doing that. Let's look at Dianica's article now. I'm kind of excited about this, and I will try to look at your article, Twinkle Toes. Since you did not use channel points, though, I'm going to kind of leave it to the end. We're at 3:30, and these last two articles will probably take us to the end of the show. So, I just want to know if this style seems appealing. Okay, honestly, Daz, I have to say it's not my favorite, right? I do like the clean paper look, but the absence of art entirely makes me kind of wonder if it's a beginner's account. But that's only because maybe I know World Anvil, you know, and how it works. I like like, you're using the basic theme, and this leather text here, I mean, clearly you're trying to make it look like a book, right? And that's cool, and I like that idea. But in order to do that, right, like if you're going to do stuff about creatures and imitate like an old-fashioned book, you will want a sketch of some kind. Like somebody will have made a sketch of this creature, or, you know, let's see if I can find something that would look like that. Sea monster sketch. Old-fashioned. You might be able to find something like this. Yeah, this is the kind of style I'm talking about, right? Check this out. This dude might be, because that's what I'm envisioning with the style of text that you're going for. If you had something like that in it, then it would look to me like a really clean and clear article. I wouldn't I realize that you're trying not to overdo the art, and you're trying to get away from it. But, you know, maybe one thing kind of like that would be pretty awesome, you know. And that's my only suggestion if you're asking about style. Try main daughter. Oh, I plan to art it up. Oh, if you are looking to do this, in that case, I think that clearly you are on the right track for laying the groundwork for your overall structure. It looks like what you intended to look like, and I think it will be very cool. So, yep, that's because I went there, didn't I? Which means that you're doing it. Dianica says, note, all except beginner for the professional levels will have their own sub-articles, which will include more information about the tools, materials, and such for those levels. Here, I will... Okay, that's still Moonflower's article. I thought I had copied Dianica's article. Let's do that, and in the meantime... You're being a butt. Okay. I'm going to click on this again. We're going to do this again. And in the meantime, here is Daz's article, because I still have it open, and I'll drop the link. Like so. Dropped. Now then. Alchemy. Type, arcane. Demand. Alchemy is in high demand. The time needed to become proficient in it means that high-level alchemists are in very high demand. Legality. Alchemy in general is legal in all parts of the world. Specialties, however, may vary. For example, poison alchemy is outlawed in several kingdoms. Other associated professions. Adept alchemy, advanced alchemy, alchemical cooking. Cooking on its own is alchemy, yes. Grandmaster alchemy, herbalism, yep, related. Intermediate alchemy, master alchemy, novice alchemy. Neat. Qualifications. To learn the profession of alchemy, one only needs to purchase the appropriate book and kit. To progress in it requires practice, experimentation, and more advanced materials, as well as quests at certain points. Career progression. 1. Beginner, knows nothing but has purchased the materials and is ready to learn. 2. Novice, has begun to study the books and created their first alchemical recipe. 3. Intermediate, has finished the beginner books and moved on to the intermediate ones. Has some more specialized gear. Has completed the quest which teaches experimentation in alchemy. 4. Advanced, has moved on to advanced materials and books. Has completed at least 5 intermediate optional quests. Has at least 25 experiments conducted. Passed a test at the Alchemy Guild. No specialization chosen. Cool. 5. Master, similar to advanced but passed the test with a very high grade and has chosen at least one specialty and is novel level at it. 6. Grandmaster, has reached master level in at least one specialty. Can teach others basic alchemy to at least intermediate level. 7. Adept, has reached master level in at least 3 specialties. Can teach basic alchemy to at least advanced level and at least 1 specialty to intermediate. Well, that is a marvelous career progression. I get a really clear idea of how it works. Thoughts on what you might be missing that's not about pictures. So, nothing there. That looks great. You're newer to World Anvil, right, Dianica? So, is there suggestions? Would you be open to suggestions on formatting? I'm not talking about art. I'm talking about the career progression formatting. Because I love what you've done there. It's really clear. Right, first article made when World Ember started. All right, I'll help you. Well, I'll suggest. You don't have to listen to me, right? But, okay, so I did a profession article, Weird West. Okay, no, that's not what I want. I want worldanvil.com. don't do the Weird West as much as I do the Toy Soldier Saga. But this is my other universe. This is the one where I have books, well, a book and a bunch of stories published in. Okay, and I'm scrolling down to my... Well, why am I scrolling down? I forgot. We have this now. I don't need to scroll anywhere. I have this. Is it introduction that I wanted in? No. Probably Faith. Let's try that. Gunslinger Order. Okay. So I did this like I guess as an organization, but I had a career progression. And here it is, structured, right? I did a header and a sub-header for how you're addressed, and then listed the things that were significant under it. I just think that if you did something a little bit like that using the H2 and H3 headers, it might be a little like easier to just look at, because you're clearly listing it in point form, right? So it would be you've got great information there, and it would just be really easy to see it at a glance if you had like a header, right? You know, beginner has purchased the materials and is ready to learn. Novice requires this, requires that, requires the third thing, right? And I realized why you didn't do it with the numbers, because you can't do like a point form list very easily within a numbered list. But if you had the numbered list as headers, you could even put numbers in front of them if you want, right? Then you could list the rest in like point form like you've got, but it wouldn't be in a bunch in brackets. It would be a clear list, which would be, you know, it's just a formatting thing, because I think that you've got some great information there, and some of it might be lost on people because people are not the best at reading comprehension, right? So the less distraction you can give them, the better off they are, right? So that's just a minor critique, and it's only offered in that I want to help. I think you've got some great stuff here. I'm interested, and I want people to read it and like it. Okay, so take it or leave it. Totally cool. I have no judgment. Okay, payment and reimbursement. There are a few research positions for alchemists, but those are very rare. Most alchemists are paid for by their creations. Alchemists may also find it easier to get a place in a party with the expectation that they will provide the potions, and for alchemical chefs the buff food, for the party in exchange for a share of the loot and priority on alchemical drops. There are also special quests available to alchemists only that can pay rather well. You were writing lit RPG, as I recall, right? If so, your tone is exactly right, because you're referring to quests and party and drops and stuff like that. So yeah, it's doing good. Okay, other benefits. Benefits of learning alchemy include access to cheaper... See, yeah, this is the kind of individual list I was thinking of underneath each of the headers for the title of the place in the profession, but your call. You can also go as low as H5 headers, by the way. They exist. They're not all marked in the what you see is what you get editor, but they exist. Okay. Benefits of learning alchemy include access to cheaper alchemical items such as potions, salves, poisons, etc. by making them yourself. Yep. Access to potentially better and or novel alchemical items from the ability to experiment while making them. Access to specialty quests. Additional perks based on specialties such as partial immunity to poisons from poison specialty, higher healing efficiency from healing specialty, etc. Really clear. Nicely done. Perception. Purpose. Alchemists provide most healing potions, salves, poisons, and other things. Alchemical cooking, one of the specialties, is the only way to get buff foods outside of... Okay, buff foods. You're talking about foods that buff your stats. Okay, yeah. I thought you were being kind of tongue-in-cheek funny at the first one, but I wasn't thinking in the lit RPG frame. Yeah, that works. Buff foods, okay? Yeah, outside of rare low-quantity special items such as quest rewards. Yep, that's cool. Demographics. Due to the demand of the profession, a small percentage of the player population are alchemists. A slightly higher percentage of the NPC population is intermediate or novice level to ensure that the lower level necessary potions and such are available in the game. Even then, it is a low number. Cool. Operations. Tools. Basic tools include flasks, vials, mortar and pestle. It would be, if you're going to have mortar and pestle, it would either be mortar and pestle singular or mortars and pestles. Because I have, just a second, I'll show you, right? Mortar and pestle, right? This is the mortar, that's the pestle, right? So you either have multiples, which I would advise because, for instance, you don't want to mix your resins in when you're grinding or into your herbs because some resins can be poisonous, right? So if you're making incense, for example, you know, you want to keep that stuff separate, right? So, but yeah. Okay, yep, mortars and pestles, knives, cauldrons. Cauldrons important. More advanced levels will use additional tools and in some cases higher qualities of the basic tools. Materials. Nearly anything can be an experimental alchemist materials. Trying to read too fast. Want to make sure I get it done before the end of the thing. Okay, yeah, for early levels of alchemy, the majority of materials are plant-based. Yeah, that makes sense. It's easier to work with plants than it is with resins or chemicals. The variety of materials increases as the alchemist gains higher ranks. I'm an herbalist, right? And I dabble in some, you know, alchemy type stuff occasionally in the process of witchcraft. So this is where I'm speaking from. I mean, this may not be true in your world, right? But because your world is a game, all right? But, you know, just, yeah. What I'm saying is it makes sense. It sounds good. You've done your research. Workplace. Well, while the ideal place to practice alchemy is a workroom, only the most affluent adventurers or those with an affluent mentor or patron have such a place. In reality, alchemy can be practiced nearly anywhere, as long as the ambient conditions will not affect the creation. For example, no brewing in a storm that will drop things into your cauldron or cause your fire to give uneven heat. Yep. Many NPC alchemists use their kitchens if they cannot afford or do not have space for a dedicated workroom. Provided services. Alchemists provide healing potions, salves, poisons, dyes, etc. Alchemical specialties may provide better quality of the above and or other items. For example, alchemical cooking is the source of buff food. Dangers and hazards. A mismade potion may end up poisonous. I don't know if mismade's the word you want there. I get what you mean. It's fine. I get what you mean. So, yeah. Most creations may explode during creation. How about there's always a risk of creations exploding or of products. There's always a risk of products exploding during creation. Some creations may give off noxious fumes. Sure. Also, if they work with metals, then there is a risk of metal poisoning because often, you know, and resin poisoning. Both of these things can build up in your system over time and become toxic in large doses, right? And plants are like that too, right? Wormwood is both a cumulative and acute poison. You can take enough of it at one go to poison yourself, and you can take enough of it over time to poison yourself. People were frequently poisoning themselves with absinthe when, you know, absinthe contained like legitimate wormwood. So, yeah, this is good stuff. Now, what was it you were looking for a critique specifically? Thoughts on what you might be missing? Shit, girl, I don't know what you're missing. I don't see anything that sounds like you're missing. The profession is clear. You've made a clear, in the process of your career progression, you've made it also clear what is involved, right? We know we need labs, cauldrons, you know, beakers, mortar and pestle. We know that we need, you know, we know that they're important, that they're in high demand, that the job is somewhat hazardous. You might also want to add, let's see, protective gear, right? Like, okay, so this is lit RPG. Is this a high fantasy setting? Is this like World of Warcraft or D&D kind of idea? Welcome back, Stretch. See, because if it is, right, yeah, you might want leather gloves, or, you know, with wax infusing. That's generally how they handled it but that's not a guarantee, by the way. If you're working with oils, wax is no help, because wax is an oil. It will seep into the wax anyway, right? Mixed settings primarily, but not exclusively low-tech, high-magic fantasy world. Okay, so, if there's dragons of the D&D variety, you might want the, you know, highly specialized equipment. Can include things like, you know, dragon bellows, black dragon skin gloves to protect you against acid, red dragon face mask to protect you against fire, you know, right? Like, there's stuff like that might be wanted. You're just asking what you're missing, right? So I'm throwing that out there. I actually think it's a really excellently complete article. Yeah, dragon hide, gloves, apron, and mask. Sure, wouldn't a red dragon hide apron be a wonderful thing for a blacksmith, right? So, you know, whatever, right? Just thoughts. But no, I actually think it's quite clear. I don't think there's much that is missing. I get a really clear idea of what this is, and I think it's very well done. Oh, there might be, depending on, you know, do different cultures have different views of the alchemists? Like, some of them might be, you know, maybe they're feared in some places and respected in others, you know? Yeah. Thank you, says Dianica. So you think something similar will work for my other professions and sub-professions? Yeah, I think you've got a great structure here. Clearly, you're using the prompt fields to their best effectiveness, and you're really thinking about what's involved in the career. I understand this job, and if I were looking to game master in your world, I could play this, right? I would be able to understand what the role is of the alchemist, how their job is done, and, you know, how many of what level of ability I could reasonably expect to encounter in any given setting, right? Which is all the information that a game master needs. It's good work. Oh, article in wrong world. I've done that so many times. Alright, so Makaro's Explorer is written. Diane Writes gets interactive. I think people missed the chat, you know? People were happy to write together, but I think people also missed the chat, and I feel like we've been catching up on that a lot today. And that's cool. I missed it too. Yeah, you need different sizes, materials, ones for different types of materials, such as edible and not, etc. Yes, for mortars and pestles. Yeah, for sure. I have 3 sets, right? I keep one for resins and things like charcoal, right? I keep another for, like, stickier stuff, like dope, you know, if I were using that, right? Because it's very resiny and sticky and you know, and then I keep some for like dried herbs, right? And yeah, and I clean them out regularly, even so, with alcohol and oil. So yeah, because you don't want to mix certain things. Yeah, and small mortars and pestle sets for toxic oil-based materials to prevent cross-contamination. Yeah, that's another one too, and I have that too, actually. Yeah. Yeah, and Author Goddess would also know. Dianica says, the game is as realistic as is convenient for me. Legit. Okay, and Twinkle Toes had something we were going to look at. So... yeah. Yep, thanks there, Stretch. Good advice. Missed much of the content, but context, but hemlock is a very nasty poison. I was talking about wormwood, but that's okay. Just 6 leaves is the lethal dose for an adult human. People have even died from eating animals that have died from eating hemlock. Yeah. Also, hemlock fumes can be fatally toxic. Yep. They are needed everywhere, says Dianica, so some specialties like poisoning are looked down on or illegal, but in general, alchemy is necessary. I see, so it's kind of like sewer workers. Everyone just kind of, you know, you need them, so... Dianica also says, I could have sworn there was a field for protective equipment, but I do not see it now. My sidebar is pretty bare. Maybe I will add protective equipment there. There you go. Thank you for the noms, Pride. I could definitely use some noms. Where did I put my noms, actually? I have chips. I know I do. Or crisps, as Sketch would say. And they're around here somewhere. But, oh, I don't see them now. Maybe I put it in the other room. The chat has been making me think more about my own world. I have a lot of species to build, says Twinkle Toes. Yeah. This kind of setting is good for that. Danica looks at the knobs suspiciously and wonders what herbs are in them. Chocolate cake is yummy. Yes. Not literally, but figuratively. Okay. Also, hemlock looks a lot like an edible plant, just slight difference in the coloring of the flowers. Yep, that's right too, Stretch. Everyone should do some self-care. Yep. I am working on ethnicities, says Siobhan, so I'm going to need help. But unfortunately, my stream is about to come to a close. Do I have time to look at Twinkle Toes stuff? I will try. Scrolling back to find it here. Okay. I'm going to drop this here. If you want to look, comment, ask questions, that would be cool, but you absolutely don't have to. I'm kind of still working on it. Oh, this is your guy Ajax there that you were talking about, right? Okay. Oh, it is that Ajax. Okay. Oh, okay, not quite. I like your okay, clearly you've been into Art Breeder. Looks good. I recognize the Art Breeder when I see it. Usually, I think. Anyway. Ajax Floros. Ajax is a jerk, but he has his reasons. That's a great tagline. I'm immediately interested. Okay. Currently boarded vessel Osk. Species human, age 31. Born 23rd of November. Circumstances of birth. He was born. Birthplace Crete. Current residence Visby. Male. Gay. Cisgender. Kind of greenish eyes. Hair blackish brown. Yeah, that's... I think they describe that color as hazel. Skin tone tanned. Height 6'2". Weight 70 kilos. Owns the Osk. knows Latin, Greek, Old Norse, and some Chinese. That's well put. I like your relationship. Oh, he's got a good relationship. Okay, that's nice. Good that people have found love. Okay. Mental characteristics, personal history. Ajax was born the middle child of Evander, Floros, and Sophia. His older sister Magdalena raised him after their mother Sophia and their younger sister Nicola both died when he was 1 year old. He ran away from home when he was 14 and worked for a merchant. We'd like to know why he ran away from home when he was 14. People don't do that much unless there's a reason. So, did he get beaten? You know, was he just like a wild child? Yeah, expand on that a bit, maybe. Okay, and worked for a merchant until he made his way to Visby on Gotland, where he had last seen his sister Magdalena. She had already passed away from fever. I'm confused. He ran away from home, but he was raised by his sister Magdalena. Okay, but he came back after he'd been a merchant for a while. It's a bit confusing. You may want to make that a bit more clear. Okay. He bought a used ship called the Osk and traded in the Baltic Sea for 2 to 3 years before traveling the Varangian route to the Byzantine Empire to trade furs and cedar carvings. Ooh, historical. Good stuff. And I know a little bit about this period of history, so I would not call myself an expert, but I do know something about it. Now I've got a real clear idea of who he is, where he is, what he's about. Like it. During one of those expeditions is spelled wrong. This is an E here instead of an A, but it's not really relevant. He was rescued in a fight by Lynn, and after many initial mayhaps, the two became lovers and traveled together. How nice. Education. Ajax had many tutors as a young boy, and a nurse in the form of Elgersdottir. Sorry, yeah. You'd think I'd know Norse better than that by now. He learned to sail a ship and navigate under the unkind eye of his father, Evander. Okay. So that's kind of contradictory because he's sort of been raised by his father. His father's just a dink, right? So, I mean, obviously Magdalena is taking the primary responsibility for his care, but his father, dink or not, is taking responsibility for his teaching, right? So it sounds like he was raised on board a ship. Is this accurate? I mean, that used to happen quite a lot, so... Okay, I'm gonna scroll back down here and make sure... Let's go here. There we go. Good night, Makaro. Have fun torturing your rats. Hello, Eli. Good to see you. Somebody say Varangian? Yep, someone did. It is art, reader. There were reasons I can expand. Black is scheduled. Yeah, I don't know. I will. Black, aka, he used to call himself Black Megan. He's now calling himself Mark Carroll. He is supposed to be on, and if he is up, we will raid him after this. Otherwise, it looks like a pretty bare night, doesn't it? I'm gonna check my Twitch and see if he's up. He is not. Well, hell, there ain't a lot going on, is there? Alright, I'll carry on here for a moment. Going back to your article, because it's not like I'm in a hurry, am I? A merchant trader on the Varangian route. Employment, yeah, okay. Accomplishments and achievements. He's not dead? That tells me a lot right there. I like that. Mental trauma. Evander was a cruel and hard parent who abused both of his children, including whipping Ajax when he was only 10 years old 12 times for some small offense. While this did have its impact on him, you got the wrong "it's" there, by the way, that needs to not have an apostrophe, the worst mental trauma came from being forced to leave his sister Magdalena behind in Visby when he was 13 and returning only to find she was dead. Yeah, we need to know why he was forced to leave, right? Is it the dad? Right? Was it this event of getting whipped 12 times for some small offense? Ajax also likes to pick fist fights, which he cannot always win. Morality and philosophy. Okay, so we're taking the RPG. Ajax is true neutral. While he does have some moral code, the thing that motivates him the most is money. He learned this attitude not just from his father Evander, but also from the merchant he worked for while making his way north to Visby. Okay, so far he doesn't seem like that big of a jerk to me. He seems like a guy who's, you know, like I see potential in there. He's found love. There must be something lovable about him, right? So I would like to know more about that. What is, you know, the relationship that he and Lynn have, right? Like, what is that based on? We don't need all the details, obviously, but you know, I'd like to know more about Lynn, like, what they have in common. Are they, like, both just, like, you know, we're adventurers and we bond by our adventuring? That's legit. Lots of people have that kind of relationship. The risk being when people finally settle down, they tend to break up then because they run out of things to talk about, right? But, you know, yeah, it's neat. No, I like your character very much. If you want my opinion, I'm intrigued by him. I would like to know more information, right? I wanna read about him. I love your picture of his of the vessel, by the way. That's, you know, yes, I immediately get the feel for your world, and I love this period of history, and just because I love this period of history, I would love to read it. Yeah. Okay. You have ideas of what you need to expand on? Good. I'm glad that you know, I was helpful. Eep, I need to, or yeah. Bob says, did I miss anything? I don't know. Dianica says, Eep, I need to hit the game shop a town or two over before it closes. See you later. Have fun. Just hurry up and wait, says Pride. Yep. DM Stretch would do an hour, but he has no material, no idea what to do. Dianica says, hubby never got himself an advent calendar, so I need to go get dice to fill your own calendar for him. That's kind of neat. I'm horrible with the apostrophes. You and 90% of the world, don't you worry about it. Very common mistake. Eli says, Stretch, you could always use World Ember prompts to start a one-shot. E-Song says, that sounds like a fun idea, and Stretch sounds like I could do. Okay, Stretch, if that's what you want to do, then I would be happy to come a raiding, you know, and the pirates can raid the Varangians, or, you know, the bunnies can come raid the Varangians. I think that's probably going to stick with us, but, yeah. Twinkletoes says, I'm still building Lynn, so that's some things I can think to build on. I could go on a bit, but I think I need to go shopping. Okay. That's cool. Well, I hope it was helpful, and thanks for sharing your article with us. I love the fact that all you wonderful people that I have met in the process of the Game of Tomes are now coming over to World Anvil and joining our community and doing cool world building stuff here. This is great, and I'm gonna really enjoy more of this sharing in the course of our streams, I can tell, and that's great. Yes. Love this. Yes, I agree completely, Song. I love it too. And I missed the conversation, right? I did nothing but conversation today. So I'm very glad that I have now set myself a day where I'm doing writing sprints, and that's what I'm doing, right? So that'll be tomorrow, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. And that will be that's probably, if I remember correctly now, no, wrong article. That would be 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. GMT. Let's see if I'm right. I have learned! Okay, this is good. Right, so that's the plan. Then on Friday, Erin is back for Ask an Old GM from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. PST, which is 9 p.m. to midnight GST, or GMT, right? And then, oh, we still have a writing stream scheduled on Saturday. Okay, that'll be a mutual writing stream right with Erin and sometimes Diane. That is from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific, or 10 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. GMT. Sunday. Do not miss Sunday, because Sunday at 1 to 4 p.m. Pacific, or 9 to 12, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. GMT, we are going to be raffling off one of my signed books again, because we reached 30 followers, or 30 subscribers rather, and that was a goal. So we're at 30, we're gonna raffle off a book. So, and thank you all for the support, and I'm delighted to be, like, you know, giving back to the community. So yes, another book will be up for grabs. Yeah, dang, woohoo! I can stream on the condition that people keep me chatting, says Stretch. Stretch is up at stupid o'clock, right? It is, and he has not had good sleep because he has been helping us out with the Game of Tones. So he is up at, what time is it in his neck of the woods? Well, it's like midnight his time, isn't it? Like, or damn near. What is it? Yeah, it's midnight his time. So I was just looking at that. If you want to stretch, or if you want to stretch if you want to stream, I will raid you, and that will be fine, and that will be good. If not, then I am going to take a short break before I do anything else, and I'm probably, since I'm running out of voice, I'm probably going to, you know, kick around writing for another half an hour to an hour. You're setting up. Awesome. Okay. Then we'll hang out until you set up. I will go to the downtime screen. Yeah, this was fun, guys. You guys create some cool stuff out there. Oh, my hair's exhausted again. Yeah, I gotta go call in the kitties pretty quick, too. It's getting dark. So, it is bloody cold out there today, and I don't want to go anywhere. But I have to go out at some point. Celebrate the season with the first collection of 2020 inspired emotes. Do we really want to remember 2020? Not until November. I don't want to remember 2020. Through 12/16, cheer at least 300 bits to subscribe or gift a sub to earn permanent emotes and gift them to your community. Alright. Thanks for doing the Sable, or this Sable. I'm sure you're tired after all that Game of Tones work. I am, but I'm also eager to get into World Ember, and I'm really glad to see other people's creations. You guys are doing some good stuff out there, and sharing it is, like, important and necessary and part of what the community is about. Hindsight 2020. Unwrap a perk when you support your favorite creators from December 2nd to January 4th. Collect 2020 inspired permanent emotes to gift to your community. Well, I think we got some of those, didn't we? From... because we had, like, a huge hype train yesterday. So that was cool. I want to get into World Ember, but not able to think, says Siobhan. Glad I didn't make a pledge. Well, you don't need to worry about it. You're the one who did summer camp in 5 days. You wrote Nano an entire 50,000 words in 6. Like, you can take a week off and then think about it if you want. You'll be fine. I'm not worried about you. Cool, I ended up in a channel and I don't even know how. Oh look! Hype train emotes now! Yay! I have a hype mage and fire. Hey, Bob! Bob! I found your dumpster fire! It's a hype train emote! And then a hype chest that helps my little pirate heart, makes it very happy. It's cool. Yeah, dumpster fire. There's the 2020 emote. Woo! That's awesome. Toilet paper wrapped in a bow. Oh my god, that's great. Oh yeah, that is too. Oh yeah, okay. Yep, that's great. I'm pretty dead too, says Twinkle Toes, but I have characters mostly pre-built, so I'm gonna put them in and worry about building my species next week, maybe. Yeah, that's why actually, because I need a break after Nano for writing, because my brain starts leaking out my ears, right? So that's why I got into world building, because it's a different kind of writing. So for me, I find it very refreshing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to flesh out the information about this, or about that, or about the other thing. And then, you know, it becomes really easy to do, you know? So, you know, but yeah, if you need a couple days off, take it, you know? Yeah. The key is getting back to actually drafting. Which I'm gonna have to do in January. And you know, I might keep tippity-tapping at it on Wednesdays here on the show or tomorrow. Ashes of Authority is lurking. Good to see you. You came just in time. We're going to do a raid here in a minute as soon as my buddy DM Stretch says that he's set up. There's also the Hype Mage. I thought he was pretty neat. I don't know why your puppy is so sleepy today. It could be because they were up half the bloody night last night. Along with us. Yep, because your puppy was so active during Final Battle stream. Yep, puppy was pretty active during Final Battle stream. Coming soon, screen is up. Just need to plug in headset. Does that mean I'm go for the raid? Because I will do it. We'll get set up anyway, right? I'm sure I don't have to introduce DM Stretch to anybody, because if you don't know him from the World Anvil community, you know him from Game of Tomes. So he is awesome. He's gonna be doing his one-shot writing for his RPG setting, and he's cool. And check him out, because I love him. He's amazing. DM Stretch on mute. Alright, thanks for joining me today. I will see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, and we will actually get some writing sprints done. Also, we're trying to coordinate when to do sprint lobbies for those who are still interested in those. Let me know what a good day would be for you guys for me to set that up. I would either run it about this time, or I would run it about the same time the Write with Aaron was running during Nano. So, always a pleasure to do a stream with you guys, and I will see you again tomorrow, guys. Have fun. Oh yes, raid shout. My normal raid shout is prepare to be boarded, because we are the Sable's privateers. And I will see you tomorrow.